using logic. I think there was another exit there. I think there was another exit. Wait. In this map. Wait. There was another exit. But well, my point regarding the boss fight here. That one to the south? Could it be? Should be. Makes sense. Though it sends you to... It does send you to the... a bit more to the southwest. Maybe here there's a detour to enter the next area. This is what I've been mentioning. This could have been easily solved like this. No, there's only one exit. Shit, I'm lost. God damn it. God damn it. Lost again. As I was mentioning regarding the boss fight people, as I find my way to the next area, you could see the difference. No, urban area, it sends you there. The dungeon was... maybe through there? Maybe through there. I haven't checked these exits. This one? Through here? Maybe? Could be? Player, you're just an idiot. It's not a problem of the game. Yeah, no. It could be easily indicated. Like, continue your quest over here, or whatever. There, it has to be there. It has to be this one. It has to be this one. It's gotta be this one. Yes. See, people. Now I need to find the main quest. Has to be this one at the entrance, please. I want to guess this is the main quest because of the color. The hoisting contraption. You are on your own from here on out. You'll want to head straight through to the Misty Bridge. Take extra care. It's dangerous up there. Nice reference to the Legend of Zelda. Make it to the windy peak, and you'll find the hoisting contraption that'll take you right up to Andrakasch. If the guard gives you any grief, tell him I sent you. I forgot about the question, Patrick. Before you had to go. I'll reply it in case you watch it as a Bob. It was what I thought of. What's your opinion on German game developer developing so far in this game? Okay, Patrick, just in case you are watching it as a bot because you had to go. There we go. Just in case, for those of you watching this as a YouTube bot, before I was doing the boss fight, most of my audience of this game is from Europe. There's a 5-hour difference. Some have to go, but I was doing and I dragged the boss fight a bit too much. And I know, but here they are 41. Okay, good. So, what is your opinion on German game developing so far in this game? I think German game developing has proven to be particularly, alongside British, the two most efficient in Europe, in the European Union. You really don't see a lot of, for example, in my case, Italian games are generally about racing, Assetto Corsa, for example, or something like that, and generally they are much fewer. I think that German game developers have been quite talented, not only in this genre, also Shinen, for example, with Fast RMX and Fast Racing Neo, and they also did shooters for Nintendo, for example, just to have a reference in other genres. Sacred 2, I think, is the most brilliant piece of German software development I've seen. Sacred 2, I would say that Sacred 2 is like the best European game in general I've seen so far, except in relationship to Isometric Action RPG. Then we have The Witcher 3, so that one would probably be a huge example. But I think it has been quite talented throughout the years. I think it's not a coincidence that the Gamescom is in Germany, but also that British game development and French game development, they are quite good. I think it reflects also the fact that, for example, we Italians and Spaniards, We are not that much into game development in that sense. It shows a gap. It reflects a gap of society culturally that in that sense is not that common to, for example, how many Italian streamers you see, or Argentine streamers. In my case it's both. Not many, not many, with that culture, because it's not a culture in our countries most of the time. But yes, it is a bit more widespread in Germany, for example. For example, just to have a reference, a direct reference, a curiosity is that I don't see many Swiss streamers. For example, I don't see many Swiss streamers, because pretty much, well, in that sense, um, the Italian portion inherited pretty much Italian tradition, and the German tradition even so. I bet it's, I don't know, influenced by isolationism or whatever. For example, I don't see a lot of Swiss streamers. You could argue that in relationship, the population of Switzerland is much less than Germany. That's why you see less. No, the thing is that I don't see even a single one. I also don't see, for example, debate about video games in, I don't know, any Italian or Spanish forum, whatever. And there you can see the gap. There you can see the gap that well, pretty much proves that Germany, alongside the United Kingdom, have always been, and now France is also catching up, have always been kind of like extremely. They embraced gaming culture as a whole right from the beginning, from the United States, like 100%. Yes, in case you don't know, people, uh, pretty much it is true that as a whole, um, the United States is more risk, is more willing to take risks, which the development of a game is directly a risky production. Most of the games fail miserably in that sense. Not many are successful. Law of supply and demand. And because of that, European countries with the European culture, I understand that well, because Argentina is pretty much is a dislodged portion of Italy and Spain, pretty much with the same stuff. We didn't, let's say, completely get independent culturally from our European heritage, contrary to what might have happened in the United States in a lot of cases, that they feel more independent. In our case, we do feel it's a quite special phenomenon, um, because, well, the fact that a lot of the population have either Spanish or Italian citizenship in our case does feed that sensation. We do feel uh, like that. So I can tell you that European culture, we are more, well, risk. We have a bit more of aversion to risk, and that directly affects the probability of having new games developed uh, by a European country compared to an American one. But out of all of them, of course, as I've said, British and German industries have been the most influential. In case you're watching this as a YouTube bot, Patrick, there you have my answer to your question. Sorry, ever people, if I don't read all of your questions or don't answer all of them. I think that so far I have answered all of them, but if it eventually gets out of hand and I don't find them, then you can just repeat it to me, and I will I'll read it. Because what I love the most is chatting with all of you. Hey, what's this? Oh, that arrow is different. It's red and it has different. But it's a urban area. You want to go to Andrakasch? I can't take you there right now. It was attacked and wounded by a red snow gnome, and he broke the hoisting construction for good measure. You'll have to repair it yourself if you want to go there. So, you'll have to replace the parts the gnome stole if you want to go to Andrakasch. We'll have to fudge it a bit, but it should work. I'd help you find the parts, but if I'm still injured, then you can manage on your own. Perfect. Okay, we have to earn our right to enter the next urban center. Basically, what I was mentioning, going back to the boss fight mechanics, you could see, compare what I did in this stream, if you're watching this as a YouTube VOD, and the previous part in which I increased the difficulty. You could see that this time I pretty much eliminated the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics because I killed the boss so fast. What I always mention to you people, when you allow the player to deal damage at such speed that he can ignore the defensive portion of the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics, you are effectively eliminating 50% of the gameplay mechanics. You could see it. I didn't need to care about defense. I dealt so much damage that why would I care about defense? If I could kill the boss so fast, and this is a huge danger and a huge defect that, for example, Diablo 3 has. In Diablo 3, you can kill mobs so fast that the amount of time it takes for you to take mobs is so short that it is limited by the paradigm of min-maxing as a paradigm of the stat system. What I was mentioning, what we were mentioning on Tuesday, people, the stat system. This is related to the stat system. This is the key that I want you to at least see, even if you disagree with me or whatever, watching this as a YouTube board, that min-maxing, dumping, using all of your stats, what we were discussing on Tuesday, dumping all of your stats on damage. Ignore my specific playthrough of Drakensang Online in this case. Think about Diablo 3. When you spend all of your points on strength, if you are a warrior, whatever the naming convention is, imagine you spend all of your points on increasing the base damage stat of your tune, basically the player spends all of his points, all of his attribute points, regardless of the Isometric action RPG, on strength if he's a warrior, on intelligence if he's a mage, or I don't know, dexterity if he's a rogue. Generally, that's the classic naming convention. And he doesn't need to invest any point on health, blocking, armor values, elemental resistances values, nothing. What happens there? Think about it in abstract. You are effectively eliminating 50% of the gameplay mechanics. That is the key. You are effectively eliminating the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics. That is the grave aspect. That's the grave aspect that is a defect at the end of the day. You could see in that boss fight, in this case specifically because I had the difficulty on normal. What's up, my Argentine Italian friend? How are you, Phantom? I could get through the boss with a lot of help from District at the beginning of the stream. I farmed a lot. Flying Energies also dropped by the stream a lot of time alongside Patrick. They discussed the good old days. In case you want to watch the conversation, it's recorded as a boss. They had a long as a bod. They discussed the good old days of Drakensang Online. They called the developers monkeys several times, as usual, and pretty much, at the beginning, District helped me to get to level 40. I got to the boss, then, and pretty much, then also thanks to No Limit GX for the raid in between. So, pretty much that. I beat the boss in this area on one more difficulty than normal. How are you doing, Phantom? How are you doing? Hey, great to see you again. Great to see you again. We chatted yesterday a lot. I am analyzing. I also analyzed in the meantime, and I was analyzing. I compared. I did the boss fight on normal now, and previously on merciless, and I kind of like was establishing a comparison pretty much between how on normal I pretty much didn't need any positioning because of the amount of damage, and that led me to a topic that I love talking about, that I had been analyzing previously, which is the paradigm of min-maxing as in the framework of the stat system. That basically in Diablo 3 or whatever, any isometric action RPG, you can deal so much damage that it effectively eliminates 50% of the gameplay mechanics. You don't have to care about health. I think I discussed it with you yesterday pretty much. Well, today I wanted to exemplify it in action, because otherwise it's way too abstract for anyone watching it as a YouTube. So I did it on Merciless. I had a blast doing the boss fight on Merciless. Then you have all of the bots, and pretty much I got through the previous area. I also criticized, and that's what we were commenting precisely with Patrick and district at the beginning, that I was commenting that you really don't are not told where to go as a curious level design aspect. Sorry, as a curious level design aspect, you are not told in this game where to go after you finish a main quest, and they disappear. And that could have been easily fixed with a simple notice of, you don't have enough level to start this quest, like a solution as an alternative solution, uh, for example. And yeah, and I also got the experience pet there. I looted it from the dungeon that district farmed for me, pretty much, and I got that harpy. And I also had the dog, but I wanted to keep the harpy. It looks good. 40 level. I see you. Yeah. We farmed that at the beginning because it saved then some time. Because then otherwise, it's not that I couldn't kill the bosses on normal. It's just that the quest doesn't appear. That's what I have been criticizing. The quest doesn't appear. I would have never gone for that solution. In that sense, I think it's terrible, because if the Phantom, imagine if the player wants to be reckless. I posed this question several times today. If the player wants to be reckless, deliberately, and wants to enter the dungeon, you imagine, as game developer, you let the player and let him get killed, or do you lock the content out? If you had to choose, for example, the same goes for anyone watching this as a YouTube bot. Answer it in your head or whatever. Uh, what do you do? I would let the player get killed, because it affects the psychological sense of progression, as I have been mentioning. If he wants to get killed, sorry, say again, if the player wants to do a quest that his level is inadequate for, do you let the player do it? Do you let the player be reckless and do a quest at level 45 even if he's level 30? Something not adequate, for example? Or you lock out the content like in Drakensang Online. I would let the player be reckless, so he's responsible for his actions, and he feels responsible in that psychological sense of progression for those actions. In that sense, I was mentioning, locking out the player, I don't think is the best solution, but well, well. In World of Warcraft, I was commenting. District commented to me, I would probably lock it. You lock it? Interesting. Why would you lock it? Why would you lock it? You support the development philosophy. Interesting. Why would you lock it? Interesting. Quite interesting. You would probably not let the player, like this, even detect the quest. Like this, or you would let the player detect the quest and just not enter the dungeon. I would let the player do it. I would let the player do it and get killed, because that could lead to a lot of creativity. Maybe there's a psychopath that can do the bosses without getting hit, and that could expose a class balance problem. I would let the player do it. Oh, what the fuck? Shit, what's with my mouse? Okay. Why would look it? Because it would probably be discouraging for a player if he's being reckless and keeps on failing quests and stuff. for a new player specifically. Interesting, interesting. Good, good talking points. Amazing argument. Amazing argument that you would that it could be discouraging for newbies in that sense. Yes, yes, yes. That could be a good reason. That could be a good reason. Mm, yeah. I started playing this game when I was like 10. Patrick 4 and Flying Energies 18. They said it today. I have now all of the dates same day, and I assume I am not the only one. So the kids specifically don't get frustrated. It's a good option for the investors of the game would love you. That's for sure, because what you are saying is kind of like the current philosophy of most companies when they develop games. What you are mentioning is the modern standard to not let the player frustrate. I would be, because I am a terrible person, I guess. I would. I am convinced that in modern society, there's a problem of not being able to handle frustration. So because of that, the investors would hate me, and I wouldn't last 2 seconds, and I would probably uh, do it hard because of that. But amazing valid point. So for a kid this age, roughly 10 average, yeah, I see it being way discouraging. So they end up leaving the game because they cannot find a way to get by. It's perfect. It's perfectly understandable for any investor would support you in a conference meeting. If we were both investors, I would be expelled from the room and you would be hired in that sense. Um, and then I would lead a revolt of hardcore players to take the company or some crazy shit like that. No, no, no. Jokes aside, both arguments are quite quite valid in that sense. Are quite valid in that sense. I would um, I would let the player do it because maybe there is a psycho that, as I've said, can do the dungeon without getting hit, and is a fascinating phenomenon that you just cannot see if it's locked in that sense. Um, and it also helps to balance the classes because then the second the developer sees that, well, maybe the developer nerfs the class, and you had also an amazing moment in the meantime. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I love that the people see people the difference. See people the difference. See people that Phantom, Patrick, for those of you watching over at YouTube, Flying Energies, District, well, Ambra when he drops by stream as well. See that they all can argument and debate and everything. That's the difference between an audience full of Fortnite players, sorry, that wouldn't be able to even hold a conversation like that, and the amazing quality of people I meet here. That's why I'm always so thankful. Let's see what you got. This looks good. Does it well blast value beautiful? Well, you can read. Oh, sorry, I got lost in thought again. You must be fed up of that happening to me. A lot of these screws are in good shape. The scraps of metal should do. I cleaned the blast bulb. The construction manual lays out which parts need assembly. Take them to the hermit. He's a whiz on the workbench. Can I enter the city? I was injured in the battle against the gnome and I managed to stop the bleeding. Can you get them for me? I love how he first asked us to get the parts, and then he cares about the fact that he's bleeding. He would have died by now. Can we enter the city? Shit! What the fuck's with my mouse? Alright, that was weird. There was a bug there. Entry requirement burner, blah blah blah. Okay, craft the burner on the workbench. Okay, we have to find the stupid workbench. Show him. Do we have a workbench here? I think there's one there. The quest indicator is there, no, but that means that you have to turn it in. Okay, as I was mentioning, people, as I was mentioning, in terms of the, in terms of the boss fights, Phantom, as a quick recap, basically I did the boss fight. I farmed first with District, then I did the boss fight, the Frost King there of the previous zone, and I killed him. I was about to kill him in first try without any kind of problem on normal difficulty, and then I increased the difficulty. I did it on Merciless, dying a lot of times and learning the gameplay mechanics. So basically, the positioning had been eliminated 100%. The talking point that I was mentioning on Tuesday, that if a game is way too easy in that sense, it can affect directly the contains an extraordinary piece of equipment for your level. Well, that is certainly extraordinary. Also looks cool. I was mentioning that you could see. Whatever. Yeah. Another one. Yes. Whatever. I won't even watch at that. Just make some room. The inventory is terrible. Yeah. Poison resistance. Let's make some room. Anyway, it's terrible. No, doesn't matter. At the rate I switch gear. Besides, I now know how to extract the gems and put them back in. Well, we have to replace that. There we go. And Magus helmet. Oh, but it has an effect damage. So let's keep going. You could. I did the boss fight on normal difficulty. Afterwards, I first did it on hard, one difficulty above normal, and then on normal. And I could once again show that phenomenon precisely, that in Diablo 3, I know that you haven't played Diablo 3, for example, but if you watch any gameplay or anything, you can see that you kill faster than the amount of time it takes for the stat system of the game to create any meaningful defensive system. In that sense, you don't have to worry about defense, you don't have to worry about your health or anything, what we were discussing on Tuesday precisely. In that sense, and that effectively eliminates 50% of the gameplay mechanics. That's why I think it's terrible. So, yes, pretty much. I wanted to mention that once again, min-maxing as a paradigm of the stat system always needs to be fixed by the stat system of any game to be kind of like effective and pretty much good at the end of the day, positive in the outcome, way in the sense of weighting of thinking about the positives and the negatives in that sense. Sigrismar. Sorry. I hadn't read it. Yeah, Sigrismar. I did that one twice. That one, exactly. Sigrismar. Exactly. That one. That one. Yeah, that one. I did that one first on. I started doing it on normal. I was able to kill it first time. First try. And I stopped the second I saw that. And I increased the difficulty by 1 level. So, pretty much, I could show the phenomenon of how affected a boss fight in that case can potentially be. I think there's no workbench in here, people, though, huh? I think I'll just get out of here. Are you interrupted by attacks? No, you're interrupted. There we go, that should do it. I did Sigrismar, precisely that one, and it was so fast on normal mode I had to increase the difficulty. There you have a perfect example of how different it was on normal difficulty and 1 level above it. You could see that it eliminated positioning. This is quite interesting. It directly eliminated positioning as an influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, for example. So a quite fascinating phenomenon. There you can see the risk of not properly managing min-maxing. I pretty much didn't need to worry about positioning, evading attacks. I didn't need to worry about evading attacks. So after I increased the difficulty, you could see that the ratio at which the boss spawned mobs increased, and because of that, I was forced to uh, dispatch the mobs, have proper positioning, evade the attacks in the first way. When I did on normal, I didn't even need to evade a lot of the attacks because of the damage. So there you have an example of how important it is to have a balanced difficulty. What was the objective here? Craft the burner on the workbench and show it. How do I craft the burner? Burner, 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 burner. Darn it. Event-related items, potions, simple physics. Oh, that's interesting. Wanted. Shit. Oh, burner? See, this is what I mentioned. For example, here, craft the burner. Like, what? Maybe I just have to drop these ones here? Ah, yeah, it's just quest items. Well, the category was there, I just couldn't find it. There we go. Amazing, pretty good animation there for that. Now we go back to the guy over there. And we turn in the quest like that. Okay. The other talking point for today, the third talking point I wanted to mention, besides the inconsistencies of the leveling system in that sense, and the influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, I wanted to mention the differences between early game gameplay mechanics and the mid game gameplay mechanics we have reached by now. We are pretty much in the mid game bracket of the gameplay mechanics. You know that I classified in early, mid, and late game gameplay mechanics, and then end game if you'd like as a fourth one, but pretty much classic, a pretty usual classification. I wanted to mention the differences. Um, the first one, right off the bat, straight out of the box, that you immediately notice is the variety in the elemental system, which is quite positive. Basically, in the early game gameplay mechanics, you don't have to care about elemental resistances. You can break through that. You can pretty much brute force your way through it. However, in mid-game gameplay mechanics, I don't think I would have been able to beat Sigrismar, pretty much, or even with Callus, which would be classified as early game. It was still early game. It was a second boss. Notice that I could do it without understanding the elemental system a lot, pretty much. I didn't understand it, and I could brute force my way through that boss fight. But this one, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And the previous one as well, the dragon that we did in the magma the other day, the third boss fight. Pretty much there it tells you that the developer successfully erected a psychological barrier of difficulty without understanding of it. The player just is unable to progress. You must be thinking, well, that's a pretty natural process. Pretty much. Nothing new. It is important, people. It is important because it marks the pretty much the limit that the developer is putting you as a player, and there should always be a psychological barrier there to stop you from just imagine that I could have got through the game without understanding the elemental system, or even mid game without understanding the elemental system. That would be a defect, believe it or not. That would be a defect. It would be a flaw of the gameplay mechanics, of the abstract complexity of the level design. In that sense, the level design is not properly erecting barriers so the player improves. And that's the point related to precisely what we were discussing previously, how much difficulty you add to the game. The legendary Blizzard motto, the philosophy, the development philosophy is precisely easy to learn but hard to master. Sacred 2, another great piece of German engineering, I think is the most brilliant one. Precisely the that in case Patrick you are watching this as a YouTube Bob, in that sense, I answered your question some minutes ago. Precisely, he asked me. The question was when I was about to do the boss was uh, what's your opinion on German game developing so far in this game? And well, I replied that previously. Basically, that as I had mentioned, Sacred 2 is the greatest piece of German game development, without a doubt so far, in my experience. Sacred 2 is it's everything a game should be. Uh, everything, everything a game should be, and it's precisely German. And it was a contemporary of this game, so I would highly recommend Sacred 2 to anyone. You have my whole playthrough, just so you have a reference. The main story with all of the side quests took me a whole year, just so you have a reference. The map is so massive, so freaking massive, that is on par with World of Warcraft, not Skyrim. So I would cite Sacred 2 as the greatest example of German engineering, of German software engineering. Um, Going back to the topic at hand that I was mentioning, the differences between mid-game gameplay mechanics and early game gameplay mechanics, there need to be there. It is important that there are psychological barriers. For example, in Sacred 2, you cannot proceed, you cannot beat the bosses effectively at all if you don't understand the elemental system. So I'm glad to see that in this game, uh, it's the same. It's the same. Also, there's a phenomenon that I want to analyze, because I think the elemental resistances of the bosses change after you activate certain abilities. For example, I've noticed that when you activate a frost ability, they are more susceptible to to different elemental types than the initial state of the boss. If that's the case, it's an active elemental resistance system for the boss that I find quite interesting, because I think the colors switch. I don't know why they switch yet, and all of this part of the analysis, it only exists in mid-game gameplay mechanics, pretty much, people. That's the key. There you can see the differences. Precisely in the description of gameplay as a category of the analysis, what I mentioned, the progressively harder mechanics that the player has to execute to be effective in combat. Pretty much. It's important that there's a significant increase between early game and mid game gameplay mechanics to feed that psychological sense of progression we talked about on Tuesday. Nice. The Baron is all you need to repair the Cosmic Container. Go to the Captain Cracklewood and tell him what he'll be happy to help. Can I enter the place now? Good for nothing gnomes. Okay, let's go. We farmed enough as to not have any problems proceeding through all of these zones, people. Oh, another achievement there. Enter Andrakasch, the Dwarven capital. Oh, amazing soundtrack, by the way, yeah? I love the soundtrack. Oh my gosh. Here you can see the influence of... It sounds like a Slavic uh, tone, doesn't it, people? Either Russian or what? More or less. Finnish as well. Finnish, I would say. Here you can see how interesting it is when developers. This is another topic that I always love to mention. The influence of the cultural impact, the influence that the nationality of the developer has on his creation. In Sacred 2, they were also German, and you could see that it basically represents the map of Europe in that sense. Welcome to Andrakasch, stranger. Are you one of our allies? If not, we sure could use you on our team. Regardless, it's nice to see a new face around here. Defend Mutulux the Hermit. Okay. Ah, we recovered the Underman that we lost during the boss fight. Anyways, District told me that there's an event next month that will help me expand the inventory. In that sense. Andrakasch, the best city, Phantom. Yeah, I also think the soundtrack is the best so far. Yeah, I was able to comment something like that. Yeah, the soundtrack feels so lively compared to King's Hill, for example, and the other ones are like resistance camps. It definitely has a lot of quests, give good amount of undermans. Yeah, precisely. The other now I have the pet that gives 10% extra experience, and I also District made me buy the Tome of Experience. These Tomes of Experience, so it shouldn't be a problem for a while. It shouldn't be a problem for a while. I also don't like bothering him with the stupid leveling I have to do. All resistance is values. This one deals a lot of damage. Yeah, we'll keep this one. Yeah. By the way, can you press E? I changed the key bindings. I have that one here for the Frostwind because I'm used to use MOBA key bindings because I played Heroes of the Storm for a lot of years. But which one was it that you want me to? I can open it from here. I swapped the key bindings. E is this. I have them down there. Oh, for the events then. Ah, for the events. Yes. The journal. Daily challenges, skills. No, it was. Yeah, I know which one you're saying. This. No. Map event. There, that one. Right side, far right. Yeah, this one. Here you have it. You wanted to check some events, some hours of the event. Knobs, newest offers. Monster Hunt. Big Game Hunt. Time of Solidarity. This is just XP boost. Desert of Essences coming soon. Give me. Oh, sorry. No. Ah, okay. Which one? You got what you required from it? You wanted to see how many days left? You can sell items from there when some events are active. Sell items. For example, Full Moon. Full Moon. You mentioned Moonwalk, Black Wolf, Blood Vortex. Right now, none are active, so you can. Okay. You sell items from your events. Okay. Like in a. I know, but the game doesn't have it. I was mentioning this to another viewer, to Ambra. It's weird that this game doesn't have an auction house, Phantom. Have you noticed? It doesn't have an auction house. Like, it would make farming much easier. In that sense, maybe for you, because maybe you loot something for your class, or maybe other player loots it, and then you can. It's weird that it doesn't have an auction house. I think it's to fuck up the economy even more, so the players are even more enslaved. But yeah, it's weird. I found it weird. Auction as of what? An auction house. Like in Diablo. Of course, it's in Diablo 3. An auction house is like a place in which, for example, in Star Wars: The Republic, we have a Galactic Trading Network. It's like a network where the player can upload any item that he looted. For example, I want to sell any of these. I upload it, and other players can buy it from me. You compete versus other players to get, for example, an item, and you place like a price. Or you were just farming. And maybe the item wasn't for your class, and you can sell it for money. And you keep the money, and the other player, or a mount, or whatever. For example, imagine I loot a sword which isn't for my class, and I want to sell it and get the money. So something like an internal marketplace, or a trading feature, basically trading between players that I can, for example, I don't know, I'm a dedicated, for example, in Star Wars: The Republic, I craft health, I craft stimulants that are like temporary boosts to some stats, and I can craft them after investing my money on investing my money on the schematic, and because of that I make money, like that in game. So the grinding process is not that terrible. Diablo 3 has that, like a trading, like a trading Trading in this game would be so broken. It's being discussed a lot. It has been discussed a lot in the past, and it's not, and it's so not working. It was discussed. It was discussed. Well, weird. Is because it would make the leveling process for a lot of new players precisely much um, much easier, much easier. Um, in that sense, because they could just buy the stuff, or for example, I don't know, imagine you have a newbie friend and you want him to get up to speed fast with the game. In Star Wars: The Republic happens all the time, and they just buy the gear for the newbie, and that way they already equipped and they can play together, something like that. In that sense, I find it weird. What do you want from me? I have not heard that you announce. Wait, what? What's this? Is that a health bar? I know I have to protect him. Oh, this is magnificent, people. Oh, influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics. We have to protect him. Amazing feature. Amazing feature. I saw this in Sacred 2 as well. Amazing feature. This also affects the source of the difficulty. Amazing. See? Even if I can easily dispatch these mobs even if I can easily dispatch this batch of enemies, the source of the difficulty here is ensuring that the escortee that is not killed. Well, here it was way too easy. Let's say I have a very maxed player, okay, that has overfarmed something. If I put it for trade, I can give it to another new character that's also mine by doing nothing. I put it on trade and new character that's also mine. By doing but you are risking that someone buys the item before you do that. In that sense. And also items can be bound as soon well, no, depending on the item, I don't know. But you risk that that other player will buy it in the meantime. If it's public, in that sense. No, in that sense, I would allow you to have a shared stash. It's the same as a shared stash at that point. It's a shared stash. A shared stash, yes, I presume the game does have it, or it doesn't have shared stash as well. You cannot trade between tombs. Items like a legacy stash, a shared stash, like in Diablo 2, that one has to exist. I saw it in town. A shared stash. I mean that players should make money out of it. In-game money, not real money. I talk to you even though I don't know you, but it's only because you took care of it enough for me. Don't get used to it though. Now let me guess, you want something from me, just as I thought. So you want me to give you the bandages? Not likely, buddy. You have to give me something better. Also, told my more purpose. I'm giving anything but back. Okay, I have to do those. Okay. Basically, if you're putting you to another new character, that's also mine. Yeah, but there you risk that, as I said, someone buys it. So far, that functionality is like Legacy Store. Legacy Store, yes, I presume it exists, or no, or there's no Legacy Store. Like a shared stash between your characters. Is there something like that in this game? There has to be. Like Diablo 2, a shared storage. If that's the case, that feature you already have it on the with the shared storage. I mean to sell to make money out of crafting or something like that. To sell it to other players. So the economy, because that brings prices down in generally in game economies. Well, if you don't have any auction house at all, then if you don't have any auction house at all, then there's no commerce at all. No in-game commerce at all. It's just you and the shop. Yeah, they may do that because they want to sell everything at the shop, right? I don't know. They don't want players to interact with each other. But at the end of the day, they do it, huh? They just sell the account with the items. I have had people here telling me that they just sell the whole account with the items. In that sense. You found them. Don't expect an outpouring of gratitude because I know you just want something, man. I make weapons, mutual, because I become a soldier, help the injured troops. No one ever asks what I want. Or let's say, if you have to buy an attire that costs real life money, and this attire has a very small chance to drop one of the most OP jewels in the game, with a duration of 14 days. The max player that has overfarmed can drop 4 of these jewels in those days. If you put the jewel on auction, company lose money. That's how Star Wars The Republic works, exactly like you described. It's indeed like that. It's indeed like that. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's exactly like that, but certain items cannot be traded. The one that you are describing, for example, cannot be put on auction. For example, there's a binding system. For example, not that specific thing. Maybe that assign it a bound item system that when the player loots it, it becomes stuck with that player. but maybe not what was it? An attire that costs IRL money. Maybe not that one, but a common, a green quality attire instead on the auction house for new players, and the other player makes money. For example, for example, for example, like that. In at that point, you have to create a binding system for the things, for the different pieces of loot. Yeah, but I see can drop 4 visuals in the name for IRL money. No, then they can do also exclusive items that cost IRL money. For example, in Star Wars: The Republic, some of the lightsabers do cost IRL money, and while you can find some over at the auction house, they are generally an insane amount of price. So it's for people who played the game a lot. It's for people who played the game a lot. For example, it can be done. Can be done. Oh well, it's not easy, that's for sure. I don't want to hear any more about the system words. I want to help me get the machine running, and I'll get you whatever I want in return. Take the piece of coal to the coal. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the thing is that Chinese companies just love that IRL money, and yeah, I can see why they may also do that. In that sense. Maybe they can also add a subscription to other. In my experience then, anyways, Phantom, the price players end up putting, they can be more abusive than the company itself. So trust me that in that sense, it would improve the economy of the game. Oh well, oh well. The company loses money with that. Yeah, maybe they could just sell exclusive items on the shop. The endgame player buys them and can only charge money. And can only charge gold instead of undermanned. They get gold instead of undermanned. What about that? That's pretty much Star Wars: The Republic. Let's suppose this is the cardinal coins, the undermanned, the in-game money. The in-game. Now I read it. By the way, it's legit example. I have 4. Give me a sec. Huh? I have 4 of a jewel that increase the amount of infernal passages dropped by 200, if I remember correctly. Infernal passages, known as IPS, are used to enter the highest difficulty in the game. You spend 10 for normal world bloodshed and 15 IPS for parallel world bloodshed. Many players tried to drop this jewel for a whole month and got nothing. Okay, but imagine that you end up farming more of those or whatever, or you want to sell the ones you have. Okay, you want to sell them. You go to the auction house, you place them, and you only get gold, silver, and copper in return. You put the price that you want, whatever. Other player puts the price and whatever. Only gold, not undermanned, which is the in-game currency. Only gold. Only gold. You can get, I don't know, 100k gold or whatever. Only gold. What about that? Only gold. You can only get gold. Meh. And then use that gold to buy new items that are a bit more expensive. I don't know. In that sense. Gold is easily obtainable. What if it was a bit more difficult? In Star Wars: The Republic, that's the case. It's pretty much the case. What if it was a bit more difficult? It used to be, well, keeping the previous system with that. All systems are valid, people, in that sense. As I've said, in my case, because what I'm describing, people, for those of you who don't know, is the system of Star Wars: New Republic. Pretty much Star Wars: New Republic is like that. Now you see, even non-max players have 10 million plus gold. It's normal. Okay, okay. So the real problem was to keep the gold as it was originally. Well, suppose no. If forget about the gold. Forget about the gold. I put between gold and undermount. I put platinum currency. That is like the old gold. What about that? Platinum currency that works as the gold used to be. A bit harder to obtain, and you would get platinum currency. What about that? It is a good, it's a quite interesting system debating all of those things. It's about time my machine works. Am I going to be colder than usual here and there, and folks are keen to keep warm? It's funny. I always really there is already have forgotten manager and made PTA like the forgotten. I would do something like that probably. In that sense. In that sense. Why are you still here on the manager? Right here you go. Possible to go. Older amounts of gold wouldn't work in today's edition. No, no, no. Adapting the system. Adapting the system. The system would be adapted for platinum currency. For the new platinum currency. The juicy mounts that you love so much. The most expensive ones. This new platinum currency. This new platinum currency. Besides the headquarters of the developers being burned, probably because of the player outrage. Now to upgrade a simpler rune, you need 10k gold. Something like that, like making either a new currency or gold tougher to obtain. And when you sell on the auction house, you get you only work with the in-game economic system, not the underman, not IRL money. You can buy stuff with IRL money and then sell it for gold. Or back then, if you had 10k gold, you would probably be hacking XD. Precisely, that's what I mean. Precisely. Imagine in that context what I'm mentioning. An auction house, that work, and it facilitates the that sense. That's why I like the idea. Well, I mean, if you don't like the auction house, no worries, at all. But yeah, it's interesting to see how the different economic systems of a game can be handled. Because at the end of the day, if it goes to shit, this is what they pay the most attention to. You are my hero. I thought for sure with me the maker, thanks to the bunch of wretched gnomes, so many true. Hey, I don't really support the idea. Not gonna lie. No, no worries, no worries, no worries, no worries at all. No worries at all. No worries at all. It messes a lot the game. Well, what I can show you is Star Wars: New Republic, my favorite game of all time. It works like that, and without the auction house, I wouldn't have been able to get a lot of the stuff I got. Honestly, no, that's maybe why I am so attached to the idea. But yeah, pretty much. If you want to see a system that okay, but in that one, without the auction house, I wouldn't have been able to get a lot of the stuff. A lot of it. A lot of it. Like, for example, imagine that there are exclusive PvE items, player versus environment items, for anyone watching it as a YouTuber. And you just do player versus player combat. And you just don't want to do it because you don't like it, because whatever, you are playing a different aspect of the game. And you can buy a lot of it. Imagine a group of not against the monkeys. Imagine a group of monkeys trying to make a functional auction house. No, no. It follows the definition till the end of time, like flying energies. And Patrick at the beginning and district. The monkeys. The definition of monkeys here. I'll read you. Let's see if I can scroll up to the messages of flying energies. What he said. His phrase was. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? I miss the old system. Let's see, they talked so much today that I know it was even more up ahead. The phrase was the monkeys are more important than the developers of Drakensang. Don't insult the monkeys, they are more important than the developers. That was his phrase, trying to make it. The monkeys reference is a constant in this. Your name's Eraser. Well, Eraser, want to prove your allegiance to Andrakasch, then clear the path of the misty reach to the stone golems. Be careful, they'll turn you into stone. Understood? Yep. Let's do it, people. You don't trust them. It's a problem of trust, people. See how important trust is at the end of the day. That is the ancient, precisely in ancient Greek, where it was discovered the problem of universals, people. The problem of universals. That's how civilization was born. That's why it's a grave matter. Trust in all of it throughout time. The problem of universals that Aristotle solved precisely. Two fishermen go to a river. They go to a river, and how do they know that they can trust the other one and the other one is not going to stab him in the back and kill him and steal all of the fish? How can they trust each other? Nowadays this looks like a quite stupid question, but in the discovery of consciousness it was quite important, quite fascinating. Two fishermen go there. How can they trust each other? Because at the end of the day, matter completely changed. From 1 second to another in those fishermen. Like one day they go, they fish, no problem, and at the next day, how do they know that it's the same fisherman? How do they know that each other they know that the other one is the same fisherman? Because at the end of the day, the particles completely changed of their bodies and everything, all of the cells and everything, it completely changed. Well, Aristotle made that perfect reference. He mentioned that just like with the water of that river that completely changed, it's not the same water as yesterday, they can perceive the universal objective essence, in that case of humanity, in the other fishermen, and that's how trust was born and our societies flourished. See how fascinating it is. The problem of trust, in this case with the developers, you don't detect the universal value of intelligence in the humanity of the developers. See how poetic I could make it. Phantom. Aristotelian style. You need to detect the universal metaphysical value of humanity, of intelligence, in the humanity of the developers. See, we have to do it like that. In that sense, but no, it's a real problem, people, because before that happened, and it was kind of like rationalized. It had been happening before. the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the previous civilizations to precisely ancient Greece did this kind of like by instinct, but they were unable to rationalize it. That's the brilliant detail in that sense. That's why I always insist with the analysis being like this, with the objective meaning and etc. and etc. That when you only truly understand something when you are able to rationalize it and replicate it and explain it in that sense. Because I bet this that I just said, all of you do it constantly, every day, naturally, and it sounds evident, pretty much. But it's important to be able to rationalize them, because otherwise you cannot explain the reasons. And if you cannot explain the reasons, you don't truly understand the metaphysical phenomenon happening in that sense. Well, I bet you can see, man. Today they announced they. Oh, here we go. Give me a sec. They announced they would make. Here we go. Today the developers, they announced they would make a maintenance at 6:30 p.m. Time is 6:30 p.m. and no maintenance yet. They finally decided to put maintenance without new announcement at 7 p.m. and they said that the maintenance duration would be approximately 2 hours long. So the game would be playable at 9 p.m. Game was ready to play at 7:15 p.m. Maintenance lasted 15 minutes. We entered the game, and every few minutes, error 42. I had something that I couldn't enter the dungeon. No, but that one is different. Yeah. Besides, with the different time zones, it's even worse. It's a circus. Indeed. Well, it's what I have been mentioning precisely. The well, in Star Wars: The Old Republic, they have bad luck as well, in that sense, because the game breaks. The game breaks with overpopulation and the instances collapse. And generally, it happens when the developers are sleeping, like at 5 a.m., like monkeys playing the symbol. And besides, on top of that, no, another thing. Today I got a raid. I got a raid from No Limit GX, and the first phrase literally was. The first phrase literally was. Where was it when they did the raid there? No, not from No Limit, from Crazy Scarso at the beginning of the stream. At the beginning of the stream, Crazy Scarso 7, the first phrase, as I was criticizing something, that the fact that it wasn't voiced, or that I was lost not knowing where to go after the main quest, after I had finished the main quest, the first phrase was also the developer had his first phrase was that. It was his first phrase. the 45th follower of today. His first phrase was the developer's are monkeys. God damn it. Yeah, I read the story Phantom of the sorry, not the story, the history of the game without capitals. History is the subject with capitals, people, for those of you who don't know. It's a subtle difference in English. If it's in capital, it's a subject at school. If it's in lowercase, it's kind of like a history about real facts. And if it's a story, it's kind of like about fictional fact, about fictional things. Pretty much, I read the history in the first stream, and at the beginning they absorbed Radon Labs, the original German developer of the tabletop game, and they absorbed all of the talent. Hence why I can see that Patrick and Flying Energies, they love the original versions of the game. And pretty much then they were acquired by Big Point yeah, they were absorbed by Big Point Games, the developer now, but then they were acquired by the Chinese company, and I bet that's when the problems started. At least all of the Steam reviews mention that. It's the corporate greed. I guess it will keep the game alive as a positive aspect, but yeah, eh, it's it's that fine balance. In that sense, I must say that for all of the criticism I've done of Star Wars: The Old Republic with the cartel market, which is in-game money, they handled the like if you farm, uh, it's not that difficult to get items in game. It's not that difficult, all things considered. Um, some are grindy, of course. Don't think that it's a walk in the park. Um, but the thing is that it rewards you for understanding the game, because if you know how to craft, for example, the items are not that expensive, and you can craft the best, pretty much the best augments in that sense, without saving more than a single month $15 in that sense. The biggest limitation, thanks to the auction house, precisely, thanks to the auction house, that that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. It works. I mean that basically some players are abusive with the price. Be honest, hand to heart, how boring you consider this game right now at this point where you are at. Rate it X out of 10. No, 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 no. I think the game is good. I think the game is good. No, no, no. So far, I do final analysis, Phantom. I don't know if you watch any. Then I do the final analysis and I award a qualification. Precisely. I take 4 hours, something crazy like that, to analyze them. But so far, without knowing all of the elements, and playing the main story, in the state it is right now, and as I've said, not knowing all of the elements so far, no, I would rate it. I would still rate it a 7.5 easily. A 7.5 so far. A 7.5. I would rate it a 7.5 because the basics are well done. The basics are well done. The gameplay mechanics are engaging. The boss fights hold appropriate difficulty. It has a lot of content. The abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics could be better, but it's still there. And I would rate it a 7.5 so far. I would rate it a 7.5. So far. Maybe there's any element that I like much more, and it increases to an 8 or an 8.5 or whatever. But I can see why. To me, game starts after you reach level 100. The current state of following questlines where you are, if I were to do it again all over without any help at all, I wouldn't. Well, but that's because you already experienced the game. Because at the end of the day, I analyze the main story because it reflects the original idea of the developers. In that sense. What you are mentioning is the end game, the current state of following quest line. I like doing that. I like playing just the quest lines like this and analyzing the mechanics. For example, it's how I like playing, like the end game. I have my games that I have end game, huh? For example, Star Wars: The Republic and everything. But but then no, even in those, what I would rate first is the main story. Is the main story because it's the main concept. The artistic direction of this game is pretty well done. It has references to real life culture with the Frost King there, with I don't know, the Calix boss fight was well designed. The boss fights demand proper positioning. That's another positive aspect. Negative aspects, as I've said, that the quest lines could have been better oriented, better designed to orient the player better. The abstract complexity of the skill tree, for example, I think it could have been higher. I think the fact that you just rotate between elements without being completely different skill trees was done in Titan Quest 6 years later as another criticism, pretty much a huge one. And then the pacing of the experience system, I would have made it a bit different. For example, and what I can tell you as positives is, as I've said, the positioning, the influence of the level design on the gameplay mechanics, the fact that it has natural sources of difficulty. It has natural sources of difficulty, like being surrounded by enemies and killed. Because of how well the physics were developed back in 2010. And in the relative context of the release of this game, 3D isometric action RPG games weren't as popular. You have to consider that in that sense for that 7.5 that I mentioned. 3D gaming wasn't in the isometric action RPG genre ready. So in that sense, this game alongside Titan Quest, they are pioneers. In that sense, they are pioneers. So that's why I would give it a 7.5 so far. The biggest flaw that I can tell you, the fact that the NPCs are not voiced is another flaw. There's no reason to justify that. But the main reason so far, it has an elemental resistance system implemented to it. For example, someone could think, I take that for granted, but for example, Diablo 3 is much more simplified than this game. It's much more simplified. Of course, there are better examples. I think Path of Exile is an amazing standard as a modern isometric action RPG. Quite superior so far. But no, I would rate it as a 7.5. 7.5 so far. Yeah. In that sense, I would change the economic system, as I've said, to put more the emphasis on these, eliminate the cash shop and sell it for $30, something like that, and have offline and online mode, because that is the ultimate best solution. Like Diablo 2 has, well, it has proven because it has survived the most in that sense. Thanks, between you and me, I never liked them. They just again. Surely you met everyone in the village already. If not, you should definitely introduce yourself to the Queen and the Fire Priest. Oh, and the human spellweaver showed here long ago. Don't be alarmed, he's hella strange. I played, for example, just so you have a reference, Phantom, I played World of Warcraft completely offline in a reverse engineered server. Shit. Oh, it's broken. The bugs I would also highlight as a problem. There it is, my cursor. I would highlight the bugs as a problem. I would highlight them as a problem. In that sense. I would highlight that as a problem. In that sense, the bugs as well, the technical aspect. Sorry, it's just that the stream said disconnected there. I don't know what the fuck that was. By the way, since you reached 40, you should know that the game's first level cap was 40 way back in time. Really? Oh, that's amazing. That's a weird level cap. That's a weird level cap. Wouldn't it be 50? 50 makes more sense. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. One of our Korea. Absolutely amazing. Uh, yes, I agree. I agree. I left a talking point that you were making. If you were to do it again without any help, I wouldn't. No, I get the point. I get the point. That's why I mentioned to change the economic system. Without help, games level cap were 40, 45, 50, 55, and then from 55 it jumped to 100. Oh, that's extremely. Oh, that's extreme. That's quite extreme. What happened between 55 and 100, if I may ask? The Chinese company bought. Must have been. That's way too brutal to be a natural level cap increase. Unfortunately, was moving for thunder. And you creatures. Act 5, Chapter 2, Total Discharge. My real presence is low in here. My gut tells you something wrong. Make living more. Please go. Holding word to work there. I have my permission to hit the workers. If you feel it's warranted, you creatures. Introduce yourself. I am the Guild of Mechanica and right hand for Muralosh. Muralosh! No! Wait a second. Stop it. Stop it, people. Possibly they added new content expansion. Umbra, how's it going, Umbra? How's it going, Umbra? How's it going? We welcome Umbra today. Well, I highly suggest Phantom and Umbra that you, when I finish the stream, watch it as a VOD. Watch it as a VOD. Because we had a long talk today. I think it was all of you, the 6 of you completely. I'm still wondering why only on your streams it's glitching. No, why? What's glitching, Umbra? It's glitching. Sometimes it does explode the maps. Muralosh, wait a second. Muralosh is the... Like sometimes I hear you, but everything is black or frozen. Is because of the bitrate, Umbra. Because my bitrate is the resolution is at 1080p. It's at 1080p. It's a high resolution. But on the other hand, yeah, until I don't hit affiliate status, you don't have the option to choose a lower resolution. I see the stream and it's fine. No, but what he says is true, Phantom. It can be that depending on your connection, since you cannot get it lower than 1080p, it can be that the bit rate of the bandwidth, you really can't without a feeling. No, I cannot lower the resolution. I cannot lower the resolution for you. No, it's precisely the feature that precisely affiliate grants you. No. That's why you can see that my stream is locked at 1080p. That's why you see it's locked. You cannot choose. If you hit the cog, you see that there are no options. If you go to a stream that is affiliate, in that sense, it will give you the option of 720p, 480p, and even less that, well, you wouldn't see a thing there. But 720p, for example, degrading it from 1080p to 720p. If your connection, well, getting a feeling isn't that hard to get, so you'll get it soon. No, well, thank you, Umbra, but no worries, I don't count on that. You can watch the stream anyways, Umbra, over at YouTube. That's why I have the YouTube vault. Everything that I do here, then in some months, will be uploaded to YouTube. And there you shouldn't have any problem because it's not being live streamed. It's already recorded, so... Pretty much. I was about to mention Muralosh. This one is from Drakensang 1, you remember, the King of the Dwarves. That's something that they gave. Well, if I'm not wrong, they lowered the requirements lately for... No, it's still 50 and 3 average viewers for a whole month. So no. It's pretty much the same as it has always been. They lowered it for the next one, for partner, I think, but then they changed the percentages. I don't know. It's the higher bracket that they changed, Umbra. It's pretty much the higher bracket. But no worries, no worries. What happens to you? It just streams and gets blocked. What you described. I got angry because I was try harding for it, and then heard from my friend that his requirements are lower XD. No, you were try harding for it, and then I heard from friend. Yeah, but he probably um he probably was talking about the next tier. No, not that one. Well, anyways, that doesn't matter. The problem is that you cannot see the stream. And so when the stream is glitching. For Ambra, for Phantom, it doesn't glitch, and for the rest, no. No, affiliate. Ambra, check your connection. Your connection, Mary. Maybe you're straining your connection. If you are playing at the same time as watching me, the 1080p can be strenuous. Plus again, it can be. Check your connection. Check it to be perfect, like that. I was going to mention Murlosh. You could see it in the first game. Well, my connection is us all the time. Well, then it's because of that. It's because of that. If I ever get to affiliate, you will be able to see 720p. You lower it, and it will be better for you. You'll be able to play and watch it at the same time. But it's only from time to time. But I have troubles only on your stream because the other ones, they are on automatic by default. They are on automatic by default. My default of automatic is 1080p because of that. Because if I had to choose, I chose 1080p. Because otherwise 720, it didn't look good. I already tested it. It didn't look good. It's because of that. It's because it's constant 1080p. In the other ones, if you look at the cog down there, it will say automatic. Automatic means that it auto-regulates between all of the ones that I told you. 1080p, if it's too much, if it detects that it's too much for your connection, it goes to 720, then it goes to 480 until that fluctuation in your connection goes away and it goes back to 1080p. How many kilobytes you use for stream? 6, 8 or less? No, 8, Phantom. 8. 8 kilobytes. 8 kilobytes. With less, it looks terrible. It looks terrible. 8. I would suggest you. Well, you both. If Ambra also streams with 2K, no, that's impossible, Ambra. It cannot be watched. That because you are not giving enough to the connection. To the connection. And if I were to Phantom, if you're affiliate, hit 1080, 10k, hit 10k. I cannot do 10k because I'm not affiliate. But if you're affiliate, go do 10k, do 10k, do 10k straight up. Automon Messi was. Well, I was streaming with 2k and was getting 10 followers on average. It was blocked because the bots otherwise swarmed the channel. The word followers. Don't worry, Ambra. Don't worry. You were streaming with 2k bandwidth and was getting 10 followers on average, probably. Yeah, with 8 kilobytes, it's known that people with weaker connections cannot see the stream that well sometimes. That's the case. But if you... And I cannot stream with higher because of my connection. Yeah, that's the problem. 2k. You need to have a symmetric connection. Generally, you have a lot of download. We all have a lot of download. And bots bad. Active followers or whatever. Yeah, I suggest you to also block the word followers and those, because until I did that, all of the I got the channel swarmed by bots all the time. You use 8 on my streams as well. Yeah, no. If you affiliate, use 10k. Use 10k because if you play a game like a racing game, it will pixelate, like it happens to me. Use 10k if you're affiliate. The second I hit affiliate, the first thing I'm gonna do is crank it up to 10k. When I get bot in... look at that, bot without S is there. When I get bot in my chat and my mods just ban them. I didn't know you streamed. Then I need to follow. To follow back. No limit and you, brother. In my chat, my mods just ban them. They just ban them straight up. Yeah, but for that you need to have active mods, and I don't want to bother anyone. In that sense, I don't want to bother anyone. Well, I haven't streamed in a while. Ah, okay, okay, okay. Okay, so it was your experience in the past. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, no, with 2K you need, because I had a lot of exams and now I have lack of motivation. No, I started streaming like I'm ahead of a minute. The powerful Murlosh will close here, people. Then I'll chat with Murlosh. You remember it from the first one, who rules over Microsoft. He lives already. I want to see this. Then next time. I ran out of time sadly today. Sorry, Ambra. It's 4 hours and 14 minutes. It's way too late. I have to eat. I'm famishing. But so ban mods then no. But now, because of the new apartment, I don't have yet new internet connection. I play with phone data. Oh well, we're brothers in that sense, Ambra. I also never lived in a house, always apartment. In that sense, apartment rat. I am. I guess what it's called here. I never lived in a house, always apartment. Nah, don't tell it. You are finishing. Sadly, yes, I have to really go. But you have the whole bod. You have the whole bod. You can see that I've been on 4 hours and 15 minutes. I started with. I was farming Kali today for 7k ports straight. Sorry, Ambra. It pains me more than than you. Trust me. It pains me in my heart when I have to go. Whenever someone joins close to the end, you have the whole ball. 4 hours is nothing. No, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is. I have to correct exams and develop some code. Yes, yes, yes. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. But you have the full 4 hours as a ball. Anyways. Damn, what am I gonna watch now? I'm at work. It's the problem, people. Well, I'm not that special for you. You for starters. That well, I started at like 1 a.m. and finished playing now. No, well, that's the thing. In my case, I start at 5 p.m. and finish at 9 p.m. more or less, so it's a bit more uh, normal. So it doesn't alter my own schedule. It pains me a lot that to leave YouTube without. Employers don't want me, so I have a bit too much time. Well, it's 2:30 a.m. for 2:34 a.m. for me now. I presume a.m. or p.m. No, a.m. It has to be a.m. plus 5 hours. Yeah, it has to be. Sorry, sorry, Phantom. Sorry, Ambra. Sorry to both of you. I start maybe a bit earlier, but I have to do it so it's not late for other people. As well, I try to find kind of like a mid time zone between the Americas and Europe and here. 3:35 here, finishing work in 3 hours. Oh, wait, sorry, I started at 1 p.m. and finished at 2:18 a.m. Well, that's crazy, Ambra. But basically you have the whole you can Phantom Ambra that you said previously. Damn, what am I gonna watch now at work? It's easy. You just watch this as a VOD. You have the 3 hours of the stream as a VOD. If you so much like my content that I deeply thank you from the bottom of my heart to both of you. You have the 3 hours of this VOD with the boss fight even, and the chat will be filled with my chatting with flying energies and the rest of them. That's what bots are for. Only 7 days because, as I've said, not affiliate yet. So, yeah. Grabs his head. No, why? You have 3 hours of that. Ah, thanks, Malej Jepesek, for being the 47th follower of the channel. What happened? You will force me to stay a bit more. Nah, stream with no communication. Nah. All right. Well, if it's 3 people, I can stay a bit more. Let me check the time. Let me see, people. Okay, I can stay half an hour. Ma- Malej Permisiek Hi, do you own a Grimag? Hello, welcome to the channel. I do metaphysical analysis. How do I donate to this man to stay more? You can't as well because I'm not affiliate. Phantom, and also it's not expected or anything at all, like all streamers precisely say. No, there's no way. That's why you see that I don't have anything at all. Ambra, happy face. Okay, I will stay a bit. Let me text my relatives that were waiting for me at the dinner. Okay, we'll stay a bit more. We'll stay a bit more. People, half an hour. Vote for Eraser to team play. No. I won't do that until until affiliate. Malage, Permishek, I give you the welcome to the channel. I give you the welcome to the channel. Thank you to the channel. Thanks from the bottom of my heart for being the 37th, the 37th, the 47th follower. Sorry, people, I had a rough day at work. Of the channel, I do metaphysical analysis here. I analyze one topic per stream. And then I do a final analysis. That's the basic structure. In the previous 3 hours, you can see that as I chat with all of them and everything, Twitch takes damn, we got this man working overtime. Twitch takes a lot more from you than deeply. I don't know. I don't know all of that. I haven't even thought about monetization at all. I like analyzing metaphysical reality for now. In that sense, the first thing that I want to fix is the connection for those of you who have that problem precisely that Phantom perfectly described. About the connection that it auto-regulates when you are affiliate and you don't have that problem with the other channels, Ambra. And the fact that bots are stored for 15 days like it was previously, and now they degraded it. Those are the first thing that I want to fix. To the new person, to Malish, basically I do metaphysical analysis. I do variety. This is a variety stream, just so you have, to anyone who follows who is new to the channel. I mention this because you may see that I talk about weird things like metaphysical reality, about mental perception, the psychological sense of progression. I talk about all of those things. I do variety. I play games on the hardest difficulty possible first run, but basically analyzing one topic per stream until we get to the final analysis. As for other details, ask me anything. That's why I have the tag. Ask me anything about the analysis and everything. I also never ban opposite opinions. As you can see, I like freedom of expression on the channel. I don't ban people unless they directly insult me. Like precisely I was mentioning to you, Ambra, that the only two people I had previously problems with were two Polish viewers like you. So you are changing history in that sense, my friend. You are changing history. Because the third time's the charm. The third time is the one in which things go correct. I talk about weird things. It's a goated sentence to advertise your channel. By the way, to Phantom, how do you rate my progress in DSO? Started a month ago and on my current account, and I'm already starting to make Imperial 4 crit gems. Oh, well, Phantom is a bit more fun experienced player than me. I bet he'll tell you our fly energies and Patri. Hi, do you on Greenman? Sorry, Malik, I am on Heredur. Sorry, I didn't reply to your question. Sorry. I'm on Heredur, Malish. I'm on Heredur. Basically, the most populated server. But I have no problem if anyone wants to play with me. I'm on Heredur. I'm new to the game. I'm a newbie. I'm just like still adapting to the changes. I establish comparisons as well. For example, well, you can watch any bot. They are extended topics, but basically, for example, I analyze. So you mean IPS? Well, they are talking about the game. I don't have it leaderboards. Malish. Basically, the idea is that. For example, I analyzed the physics system of the game and I compared it to Titan Quest, for example, in terms of how, in the relative context of the 7th generation, Drakensang Online was one of the few 3D isometric action RPG games that successfully created a good point-and-click control system. I know a lot of the things that I mentioned may look evident at the beginning, but then, I know I'm gonna kill 3 scavengers and 5 chests, may look evident at the beginning, but then they have an implication. For example, the first thing that I mentioned was that in this game, you cannot do this. See, I'll show you, Malish, just so you see. See that I cannot get through the mobs, right? If I walk in one direction, I highlighted this, for example, in that sense. And that may seem stupid, but it affects the source, the objective source of the difficulty, to be natural, organic, and not artificial in that sense. I'm starting out on Heredur. A viewer of the channel basically asked me to review this game. Basically, viewers asked me to review games, in this case. It's always a personal pleasure if you want any game reviewed. I review games, basically, and he asked me, and I'm like I'm a noob, getting starting the game, and yeah, I also got some help with the experience system, but basically you could see that I couldn't get through those mobs, right? So there I analyzed in the first stream, for example, just so you have a reference. Then you can click on the Sacred 2 analysis here on Twitch, and there you have an example of, I take, for example, 4 hours to do the final analysis of Sacred 2 that I highly recommend you. I also do game recommendations. So yeah, and then there's the metaphysical aspect that then, well, that's extended in time that we can discuss about. I basically try to reverse engineer mental perception to reach objective metaphysical reality that, since I'm a scholastic philosopher, I am convinced it exists and it can be reached. Callis is bored of me, I'll fill a stream 300 times, but yeah, make yourself at home, Malish, make yourself at home. If I can, Malish, Pernisek, make yourself at home. Ask me anything. Don't be shy. It's a friendly community. It's generally, we are all adults, and I like organized communities like this. You can see that they are all quite extremely friendly. And ask me anything about it. I also have do game recommendations on the Discord. Everything. I was about to go, so you can see that how how much I love all of them. That they are my amazing internet friends in that sense. Same with you, all of you. I don't remember how many times I killed Grimang solo on IVS. I also play other games in that sense. Several the genres you have them down there, but yeah, basically the key of the channel, just to have a reference, the team is to metaphysically analyze the games from a realist perspective, a metaphysically realist perspective. In that sense, my friends are joking that Kali is missing me when I'm not playing. The most active person in my guild, 90% of time Kali and then chests. So basically, just to have an idea, for me, the quality of a game is not subjective. It's not a matter of mental perception. It's a matter of how particles arrange themselves and adapt my mental perception to the description of objective metaphysical reality. That's what I do, and what you could see some minutes ago that they didn't want me to go away, that I do on the channel, basically. It's quite, I know it sounds quite weird, but they could get used to it. You can as well. Hope they are enjoyable. They are, hope my company, as I've said, people, to all of you, to you Phantom, to you Amber as well, that my company is always, so is that, for example, that Phantom that you are working on my company is is good for both of you, that it helps you pass time faster. Yes, it's the summer of it's OP. As you can see, they are quite expert players, contrary to me. I'm a new. So basically, that's it. Is the part of the metaphysical aspect is quite interesting, in that sense. Quite interesting, because as I've said, I care about how particles arrange themselves, basically. I try to deduce facts from objective metaphysical reality rather than impose my mental perception of it. It's the opposite process. Why, quite weird, I know, but trust me, people, the viewers of the channel, at least you can see they enjoy it a lot. Okay, I was commenting that for all the boxes and rooms and dog. Okay, they are chatting about the game a lot. I insist that you two would appreciate the chat that Patrick and Flying Energies and District had, and also Crazy Scarso 7 as well. I bet you would enjoy it as a bot. Besides, I did the boss fight, and I cranked up the difficulty one level. I bet you would enjoy it even if you don't like watching bots. Wait a second, what did you say? We were attacked by Jank here in the Gleaming Mountain. I knew the Dark Dwarves were trashy, but this is crazy even for them. Their Jank has taken on a life of its own. I was mentioning as a conclusion of today's topic of analysis, people. I just randomly saw to my... I don't even remember when I've gotten it. And them Jewel? Oh, they are discussing about the loot already. So they clicked like this, like Patrick and Flying Energies. They clicked like this. I bet you would also... Yeah. XD. They clicked like this, people. They started chatting. I didn't even tell them, and they just started chatting between each other. This is love at first sight. They started chatting like that immediately. It's a connection. I'm one of the few in my room that have it. I was commenting as the conclusion of the analysis, people, basically that indeed there are clear differences between mid-game gameplay mechanics and early-game gameplay mechanics. As I've said, the developers successfully erected a psychological barrier of difficulty. I trust you can take care of these. If you see a drone, destroy it. And by destroying, I mean make it unrecognizable. The Dark Dwarves should not be able to restore them. Okay, let's go. As a conclusion of it, oh, hi, Razor. Didn't you see? Didn't see you there. How's everything else? Hi, people. You're having an amazing time. You're having an amazing time. Well, the chat room, I guess, is part of the entertainment. So yeah, pretty much. No worries. Even my friend is missing this jewel on his account and has everything else. 1.1 million range, something like that. No worries, people. No worries. Patrick and Flying Energies spent the whole boss fight chatting between themselves. Don't worry at all. Don't worry at all if you enjoy each other's company as well. No worry at all. Both of you. And I insist. I bet you would enjoy the both with their conversation. They discussed the good old days of Drakensang online. I love watching bots. Don't you like watching bots with the discussions that the streamer has with people, or that the people have between themselves in chat? Sometimes you learn a lot from those things. You learn a lot more than the stream itself in a lot of cases. Mike has 100k in seats. Okay, they are discussing the game. My Rangers. They are beginning to well, I didn't want to say it like this. They are beginning to draw their dicks out, comparing stats already. It's inevitable. So I will do the same in Star Wars: Your Republic. I want you to get parts for a new weapon and for this monster hunt. There was one of you that was quite lucky in the event. I remember. I think it was Patrick that could loot the new stuff first try. There was one of you six that was quite lucky. I remember he told me. I think it was Patrick. Patrick is C4 feet in my face. Well, Eraser. Well, he is max. Eraser. Well, almost max. It's not wrong if he lacks one BJ ring, because he has two since he was 135. No worries, Phantom. No worries. You're enjoying. I was wondering when you would meet Ambra, and when Ambra would meet another person, I was like there waiting. The second they meet each other, they will start talking about the different stats of the game and everything. It is ironic though. It is ironic though that you guys enjoy the conversation in a stream in which the person is a noob at the game. That's the ironic part of it. Well, that's the interesting part that the metaphysical analysis have that common ground, with those universal elements. All right, I've already done the conclusions. I can just enjoy myself playing, I guess, for today. Pretty much the idea of today, just as a quick recap, for anyone who may watch this as a YouTube VOD or a Twitch VOD, and for whatever reason you jump to the end, that's all, we have an updated reference. Basically, the idea is that the mid-game gameplay mechanics are properly distinguished from the early game gameplay mechanics. And he has only 5 HP. What do you mean 5 HP? 5 million HP. 5 million HP. Because he sacrificed some for damage. Alright. The Ranger, I think it was, if I saw correctly. He's also bringing for the... Yeah, because this game isn't used to having new blood, so the older ones try to be as welcoming as possible. Pretty boring bullying the same old people over and over again in PvP. I bet you cannot bully Ivar, the legend. XD. I bet none of you can bully the legend that flying energies and no, you were in that stream, Phantom, that you mentioned. No one can bully Ivar. Has any of you bullied Ivar in PvP? The legend? The legend that flying energies and you told me about? Ivar? Ah, it wasn't you. You know him, the legend of Ivar. Ambra, I think he knew about Ivar. Well, I want to max my PvE as fast as... I'm not a girl, so... Ah, yeah, you knew about it. See, my memory served me right, even if it was 3 weeks ago. It was 3 weeks ago, and no, more. 4 weeks ago, potentially, when I started. More. No, 8 weeks ago. What am I saying? 2 months ago. I want to see how good this Dragon Knight will be. Who's Ivar? Ah, he doesn't know Phantom. See, there's something I knew before Ambra about the game. a guy that plays the game 24/7. You must be thinking that's not weird. I suppose you are not in Heredur server. No, he's in Grimag, I think. I think he's in Grimag. He told me once. Could it be, Ambra? You were in Grimag? Well, I'm in Grimag player. Yeah. He's a guy that plays 24/7, they say. Phantom and 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 flying energies. Good work, Eraser. Stay vigilant, though. The enemy will be sending more of their dark minions away. And apparently, he only talks to girls, and he's going to find... His dream is to find his girlfriend in-game. It's not that he plays 24/7 about Ivar. Well, I'm also 24/7 playing. No. That's a common element between all of you. It's not. It's what Phantom may be able to tell you. XD, by the way, both of them. It's what Phantom is about to tell you about him. That is the distinguishable feature. I don't know. I don't know who they are talking about, but for them, it's a myth. Patrick also knew about him, so that's at least 3 people, Ambra. I didn't know, of course, I just joined. But I think the legend that Fly Energies told me about was that he was going to find his... The promise was that he was going to find his girlfriend in Drakensang Online, was his kind of like his legendary quest in life or something like that. Wasn't it something like that, Phantom? Well, let Phantom speak. He knows the answer. He knows the answer. I'm not suited for that. Long winds on top of the good mountain, I sell alone in the workbench. Heal the commander. Okay. What? Why did he jump to Infernal? Oh. Don't worry, Ambra. He's probably well. If I would be looking for GF in Drakensang, I could go for Beata 46. She's 48 though. Man is just a cringe child, not anything to be a discussion topic about. Okay, Phantom. There's a sinister side to it. Now the story has taken a sinister tide to it. What Fly Energy said back then, basically Ambra, so is that he would constantly talk to them, basically, like in an active way, like constantly. It was like that. Got it. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. You probably get the point. Yeah, he can. You can. Yeah, pretty much. Get the idea. Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. Between my description and his, in that sense. Yeah, because if you discuss it continuously, I get your point, Phantom. Then you are actually promoting it. In that sense. I get your point. Yeah, in that sense it's true. Yeah. Yeah. I get the point. I get it as well. What level are you? Because I'm blind. You're blind. But you cannot see anything like at all, like, or was it? It's basically harassing women in game. I don't know why he became famous, but he should have been banned way sooner than he did. Well, there you got the description. There you it. What level are you? I am level 40. 40, Ambra. I'm level 40. I'm level 40, just in case. Level 40. District helped me at the beginning. Well, that's why I tell you to watch the to watch the what was it, the beginning of the board. No, I just don't see the numbers. XD. Okay. Well. Okay. I'm level 40 right here. District helped me at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of today's stream, to farm a bit, and then I could make it to 40, basically, and I'm still at 40, basically. Can't wait to discover Blood Mage at Phantom. Well, every server has someone like that. Yeah, in Star Wars Your Republic, you do get banned easier, but yeah, there are idiots everywhere in that sense. And even that he got banned, he made or bought a new account and he has the same shit. Just block and continue. Okay. Yeah, in Star Wars Your Republic that happens. That happens. Not specifically that, but yes, that some. Yeah. But there are some, let's say, uneducated people, uncourteous, uneducated people. Well, XPing characters is pretty, leveling characters is pretty quick. I think it's this one, the commander, huh? My guildmaster found some account at level 40. That's the level I am. It's not that impressive, I guess, so far. Got it to 100 in like 3-4 hours. God damn it, shit. God damn it, shit. White Tiger. Hey, I think this one is a pet. Looks quite good. I think this one is a pet. A mount! I looted a mount. Hey, I think this one is quite lucky. Look at this. Leveling is very easy if you know what you are doing. Yeah, it's not the case with me, of course. Look at this. Oh, finally, I looted my second mount ever. Look at that. Flying Energies told me how to do it. Collections, mounts, wild beasts, tiger appears, and now you replace it here. Look at that. Yeah, Q1 with circle on 500 with the current event. We have 7 levels per map, if you know what it is. Look at that, people. We finally have a different mount. How interesting. How interesting. He looks quite cute, though. Between this and the harpy I looted from that other dungeon, we are completely different than last time. Okay. Also, if you have a Halloween XP boost, you can stack it up to 100 and if you run it. Okay. Okay, people. Now yes, it's 10 p.m. I really, really have to go. I finish with this quest. Sorry, if you want to keep chatting, the chat works even if I am offline. If you two love chatting away about your memories of Drakensang Online, and also you have the entire ball with the entire discussion of Flying Energies and Patrick about the old good old days, and District helping me and all of the context up until this point. Now, yes, I really have to go. I'll leave this one because of the reference to Murolos. I'll leave it pretty much here. Huge thanks from the bottom of my heart because now it will take me a lot of time to thank everyone today. Thanks from the bottom of my heart to Crazy Scarso 7. Thanks to No Limit GX for the raid and the follow. Thanks to Crazy Scarso 7 for the follow, and thanks to Malesh Pernisek for the follow as well, to the three of you, and to No Limit GX also for the raid of 3 people. Thanks to the three of you from the bottom of my heart. You all encourage me to continue showcasing all of these forgotten gems that certainly deserved more praise back in the day. Special thanks to pretty much all of the incredible Drakensang community, to Phantom, to Umbra, to Patrick, to Flying Energies, to District, of course, for helping me all the time continuously. So I think I covered you all pretty much. Let me see if I forget someone, just in case. And I also love that you all enjoy discussing the different aspects of the game. Thanks to... there we go. Yeah, I think I covered pretty much... yeah. And I take it that he also followed the first time in Drakensang Online. See, I don't forget anyone. Okay, people, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today we analyzed the differences between early game and mid-game gameplay mechanics, the boss fights, and the level design structure for the experience system as well. Once again, sorry, Ambra, from the bottom of my heart, that you're a bit a bit late and I had to go. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and sorry. Well, good night. Same for you, Phantom. Have a good night to both of you. And as I've said, it's not live, but it's not kind of like real time. But as I've said, you have the first 3 hours of the stream in case you enjoy the company, and I always enjoy all of your company as well. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. See you all on Tuesday. Good night, Ambra. Good night, Phantom, as well. To Malish, if you're still lurking or something, thank you for adding a new way of seeing this game in a different aspect, and thank you for making half of my work time go faster. Oh, you break my heart, Phantom, that I cannot stay even more. Have a good night. If that I cannot stay a bit more and hard. The same heart for you, as I've said. I can offer you the bolts, and you have the bolt over at YouTube. You have the whole bolt. But well, you two like chatting. Maybe that's the case. Thank you. Your hearts warm. Your words warm my heart. Same for you, Ambra, both of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. See you all on Tuesday, people. See you all on Tuesday. On well, you two have your own channels, so I don't offer it to you. You must have your own communities. But in case anyone wants to talk to me outside of the stream, I'm on Discord there. But I don't offer to you since you have your own communities at all. I don't want to bother with that. But well, anyone else watching or anything, you can talk to me at Discord. I do game recommendations and those things during the weekends. People, it's been my pleasure. Have a great night, and it's an honor that I can make your nights well, even for a second, a bit better for me. That's my true reward. People, it's been a pleasure. See you all on Tuesday. Bye bye. Have a great weekend. We'll continue with the analysis.